Well, some African nations are using hydropower to generate much-needed electricity. But this clean power source has its problems. In this segment of our Empowering Africa series, VOA senior analyst Jeffrey Young examines the good and bad sides of using water to turn on the lights.
June 30, 2017. Ivory Coast's massive new 4.5-kilometer-long Soubra Dam is commissioned on the Sassandra River. The Soubra Dam joins 6 others in the Ivory Coast. On the other side of Africa, the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam on the Blue Nile River is a point of contention between that country and Egypt. The dam is expected to generate 6,000 megawatt hours and hold back a reservoir of some 70 cubic kilometers. And that has Egypt concerned. A water rights agreement dating back to 1929 gives Egypt most of the Nile's waters. But upstream countries such as Ethiopia say that since they weren't party to that agreement, they're not bound by it. Egypt, Ethiopia, and Sudan have been trying to agree on how to share the water and make sure that the new dam doesn't hold too much in its reservoir. Water-generated power has a big role in sub-Saharan Africa. By some estimates, hydropower generates 90% of the electricity in Ethiopia, Malawi, Mozambique, Namibia, and Zambia. The landscape of much of sub-Saharan Africa, coupled with copious rainfall, makes hydropower a logical choice. There are estimates that if all the dams currently planned are built by 2030, electrical generation capacity will more than double in southern and eastern Africa. But not all hydro projects need to be huge and costly. In Rwanda, the German company GIZ built this small generator as part of its NDEV energizing development program by piping local stream water into a turbine, which gives this village enough power to engage in sewing and other light manufacturing. It also affords the opportunity to connect later to Rwanda's national power grid when it finally reaches remote areas. Such NDEV projects are joint ventures with local partners who have to raise part of the costs themselves. But this stake enables them to gain knowledge of the technology involved that they can replicate elsewhere. Via Skype, GIZ project leader Daniel Bush.
We always build on local partners in developing these projects. And that needs a lot of hand-holding and facilitation and, of course, capacity building. But at the same time, we would never be the party who would be so responsible for a realization of a project, because we believe success is when a local partner has the ownership to make a project run and also to make a profit.
Water spins turbines that generate electricity until the rains dry up and reservoirs behind the hydro dams get too low, suffering more sediment buildup as drought shrinks the river levels. Some analysts believe that the effects of climate change should cause second thoughts about dependence upon hydropower. One is development charity Oxfam analyst Sasanka Thalakasiri.
The impact that climate change is having on large-scale hydropower is being seen now. It's not, we talk about the impacts of climate change being in the here and now and not much of an abstraction in the future. I think the impact that it's having on hydropower resources in Africa is so present. I mentioned, Zambia, where I come from, they're having rolling power blackouts.
In the next segment of Empowering Africa, we look at the role nuclear energy may play in sub-Saharan Africa. Jeffrey Young, VOA News, Washington.
While South Africa is presently the only sub-Saharan African state using nuclear power to generate electricity, a number of other sub-Saharan African states are signing deals for nuclear reactors or considering them. In first of our 2-part segment of Empowering Africa series, Jeffrey Young looks at why nuclear power is attracting attention as a means of getting more sub-Saharan on the grid, and so be sure to join us on Friday for that part.